All right. Well, the Giants and the Commanders just wrapped up. The Commanders come away with the win, 21-6 against the New York Giants in Washington, D.C., aka Northwest Stadium. Um, just talk about some things I took away from the game. First of all, I'm gonna start on the Commander side of things, talk about both sides of the ball with for them, and then I'm gonna talk about both sides of the ball for the Giants. Commanders, the offense looks good. I believe they came away with around 450 yards of total offense throughout the day. Emeka Buka with two touchdowns. Okay, but yeah, let me go see. Came away with 432 yards of total offense, which is crazy. Jaden Daniels accounted. He missed the field goal. Crazy. Jaden Daniels accounted for a decent amount of those yards, but I'm just talking about passing. He accounted for 212 of those yards. I thought it was more, but he accounted for 212 of those total yards, and the run game had 220 total yards on 32 attempts, which is about 7 yards per attempt, which is wow. It just goes to show that they won in the trenches as well today. Obviously, you don't win, you don't have 7 yards per rush without winning in the trenches, and that's what the Commanders did. However, penalties, like I said, I'm gonna start off with the offensive side. Penalties is something that they'll have to clean up definitely before their Thursday night matchup before against Green Bay. They'll definitely have to clean that up if they want to maximize their potential. But the offense looked good. Debo Samuel looked potent. Uh, he had about 90 receiving yards today. I know he had about 10 targets. Uh, I want to say he had around 8 catches for 90 yards and add on a rushing touchdown to that, probably another 15 rushing yards. So let me see. Let me get the stats. Yeah, so his one rush of the day was a 19-yard touchdown run, and he had 7 catches for 77 yards. So 8 touches, well, and plus he was a kickoff returner, but I'm not going to count that in there. So as far as offensive snaps, he had 8 touches for what would that be? 96 yards total and a touchdown. He was the number one receiver today. Got majority of the targets. He looked good. There were a couple balls he could have caught. He had like two drops that I put on him. But besides that, he looked good. He looked explosive, fast. He looked like prime Debo, if you want to put it that way. He looked like 2021 Debo. Terry McLaurin, only 2 catches for 27 yards. Jaden and him, they didn't connect on a deep ball that would have been a touchdown, like a 70-yard touchdown ball. But besides that, Terry just didn't get many looks today. So I don't know. There were a couple times where Terry was open, and I'm pretty sure the ball just didn't come his way. Jaden Daniels, obviously, got to talk about him. He controlled the offense. 432 total yards, like I said. The thing that killed us, like I said, was penalties on both sides of the ball. But talk about offensively, we would get to like a 2nd and 5, pick up 15 yards, and then out of nowhere, it's a holding penalty. Boom! Now it's 2nd and 15, and then we couldn't we couldn't get back on track after that penalty. Or it's a 3rd and 3, we pick up 17 yards. Next thing you know, it's another holding penalty. Now it's 3rd and 13. Couldn't pick up from it. So penalties is one thing that derailed this game. Without us shooting ourselves in the foot, I feel as if this game definitely isn't as close as it seems. But you know, the running game, besides Jaden Daniels, 11 rushes for 68 yards. He did his thing, toting the ball as well. He was just a complete dual threat quarterback. The only problem I had with Jaden today is accuracy. Um, Intermediate throws, middle of the field throws, he threw a couple of them behind. I don't like that unless I see that a defender's coming down and you trying to lead your guy away from taking a big hit from a defender, which I saw him do that once with Zach Ertz later in the game. But a couple of those throws, middle of the field, were definitely behind a lot of the intended receivers, and it either created a hard catch or a drop that was supposed to be a catch. Like I said, the deep ball to Terry, they didn't connect there, so that was something else I didn't like. But yeah, besides that, also he was holding on to the ball way too long this game. There were times where he had 3, 4 seconds in the pocket. He's still surveying the field. Next thing you know, the pocket breaks down. You know, and like I said, a lot of the penalties hurt us, but a lot of them, it might not say Jaden Daniels caused the penalty, but Jaden Daniels took part in some of these penalties. There was one time where he had 3 seconds in the pocket, 3, 4 seconds in the pocket. He's holding on to the ball. Next thing you know, Josh Connolly gets beat off the edge by, I want to say it was Brian Burns. Yeah, it was Brian Burns, and they called him for a holding penalty because Jaden Daniels was still in the pocket, just holding the ball. You got to get the ball out. Another thing I didn't like, it was the end of the first half, and Commanders were in striking territory around like the 5 yard line. So basically, what happened is it was like 20 seconds left. Commanders call up a quarterback draw. Boom, try to catch the defense off guard. They get from like the 20 yard line to like the 5 yard line, somewhere around there. So boom, it goes from 20 seconds to about 6 seconds. So the Commanders snapped the ball. It was a play. So they already had this plan just in case. It was a play. So Jada snaps the ball. Nothing's open. He throws it. He doesn't throw it in the back of the end zone like towards a receiver. He doesn't do that. No. Instead, he launches the ball. No receiver in the back left end zone, back pylon. He launches the ball all the way over there to the back left side of the end zone. So after further review, they called it intentional grounding, and with it being 3 seconds left, and the clock was still running when he did that, it led to a 10-second runoff. Obviously, that ended the half. So instead of going into half at least 17-3, potentially, went into half 14-3. And those points really could have helped because the offense was in a slump to begin the second half. Throughout the majority of the second half, they didn't score a touchdown until their second to last drive. So, yeah. Is that about all I wanted to cover? Zach Ertz had a touchdown on a. If you're a Commanders fan, or if you've seen a decent amount of Commanders games, you've definitely seen it before where he runs like a. It looks like he's finna break out, and breaks back in. So kind of like it's like basically a little pivot. But Zach Ertz scored on that in the red zone. Yeah, but besides that, the penalties got to clean up. Jaden got to get the ball out faster, but besides that, it's a pretty good offensive game. I would like to see more points. Yeah. As far as the defense, man, the Commanders' defense put on a show. They truly did. They put on a show. The defensive line, no matter who was on the line, I was finna put out names, but I would name the whole room. But these three guys had the biggest game on the D line. Javon Kinlaw, Daron Payne, and Dorrance Armstrong. They were everywhere. Like if Russell Wilson could not go anywhere without seeing those three guys if they were on the field. The run game, they took over the run game. The run game was stagnant. If they ran towards the outside, they would have a chance, possibly. But as far as inside zones or smash concepts or inside counters or trying to gut the inside the defense, was not going for it. Javon Kinlaw was a man amongst boys. If that's a sign of what the season is going to be for him, watch out, NFL. He could end up being a top 5 defensive tackle this season. I'm not going to lie. Like, Javon Kinlaw was the whole defensive line. Every time Russell Wilson dropped back to throw the ball, he had 2 seconds max. If he didn't have the ball out, he was either running or he's on the ground or he's fighting for his life. Either three. He wasn't just standing in the pocket with no worries. Aiden Hutchinson's playing? Okay. I didn't know he was healthy enough to play. But yeah, my bad. But yeah. But yeah, the run game was stagnant. Let me pull up some stats for the Giants. Let me be fair. Well, now I'll pull up the Giants stats when I get to the Giants side. Defensive side of the ball, Bobby Wagner led the team with 10 total tackles. Frankie Louvu was after him with 7. If you watch the game, it seemed like we had way more than 2 sacks. We only had 2 sacks. We did have 7 tackles for a loss, though. It just goes to show how dominant those guys were being. The secondary looked good. We saw a lot of man to man, and not just like two shell high man to man. It was a lot of cover 1, cover 0. Like if it was a long third down, cover 0. Like we saw a lot of that. So Joe Witt Jr. is a man of his word. We all knew that, but with the cornerbacks he had last year, he couldn't do it. He's doing it this year. You will see if you have the Washington Commanders, you will see man to man about 70% of the time. I'm not gonna lie. And to be real, the coverage today was sticky. It truly was. Now, where we start getting in trouble is when Noah Igbenogany got in the game. I guess because we were rotating guys throughout the secondary all game. Mikey Sainristil went down. That was the first time I saw Noah. I don't know like why he wasn't in the rotation of guys. I saw Jonathan Jones, Tyler Owens, Revo was out there playing safety, but the only guy that really wasn't a part of that secondary rotation was Noah Igbenogany. So he got his first action when Mikey Sainristil went down. And immediately, like the first play, immediately he came in, slot fade. I forgot who the receiver was. I want to say it was Darius Slayton. It was Darius Slayton. Slot fade. It was incomplete. Noah got away with the face mask, an egregious face mask. And he was kind of bumping and grinding with Darius Slayton down the sideline. So, got away with it. Refs didn't call it. Next play, I see the formation. I see they got Malik in the slot now. Now, Malik was moving around the whole game. Before I say what I got to say. Malik was moving around the whole game. But as soon as I saw it, they had trips to the left and one receiver isolated. Malik is on the trip side in the slot. Now, I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, now, it's a coincidence that they want to put this man in the slot as soon as Noah is in the slot. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's been moving around the whole day. But something in my head was like, Noah ain't really play all day. Malik, they are trying to force feed Malik. Malik was putting on the show on the sideline today, by the way. I'm like, they finna throw this slot fade again, huh? Next thing you know, Russell Wilson snaps it. Immediately snaps his head up. The outside guy runs a quick stick. That's all I need to know. When I saw him run a quick stick and I saw Malik start dancing with Noah and break out, I knew it was going up the sideline. Russell Wilson took a mean hit from Quan Martin on this play, by the way. Props to Russell Wilson for standing in the pocket and taking this hit on that throw. But uh, Russell Wilson drops back, takes like a 3-step drop, immediately just floats it up. Just floats it up there for Malik. Underthrows it, but in this position, he underthrows it. It's Malik against Noah. Malik is obviously the better player. He's more skilled at his position against Noah. Malik works back to the ball and just catches it, just lets it fall in his arms. He just runs back. He's running. He stops and just jumps in the air and catches it at the high point, pretty much. He didn't even attack it at the high point. He let it fall in his arms, like I said. Boom. Gets a tackle. Gets tackled. Easy 25-yard gain. Easy. So, with that being said, with that happening, it kind of got Malik. They tried to get Malik going. After that play, Noah got pulled. Mikey Sainristil was back in the game. Noah had 2 plays. Anywho, Noah had 2 plays in the game. Not in the game, but Noah had 2 plays in a row right after Mikey got pulled. He got targeted on both. And part of the reason why they were so confident targeting Noah again is because they knew that should have been a flag. So in both of those plays, they know that they should have gained positive yardage. In one they did, and the other one, it'll go down in the history books as a incompletion, but it should have been a face mask at the very least. But besides that, the rest of the secondary was sticky. I just don't like some of the flags. Marshawn with the little holding penalties. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna have to get used to it because with us playing man to man all the time, we gonna hear a lot of holding because we're expecting. These are some of the best cornerbacks in the world, yes, but these are some of the best receivers in the world too. And the game is way more more favorable in the side of the offense. So I'm gonna have to get used to it. But besides that, like I said, the D line come away huge winners. Allowed 70 total rushing yards, I believe. I think that's what it said. And majority of those came from Russ. Let me see. Team stats. 74 rushing yards. Out of those 74, how much did Russ have? Russ had 44. So the rest of the running backs were held 15 carries for 30 yards. I mean, that's 2 yards a pop for the running back. Can't really ask for too much more. Trey Amos looked good on his side. He had a holding too on Malik Neighbors, where Malik is isolated with him on the right side of the field, deep in Giants territory. They just trying to get some yardage. Malik runs like a 12-yard hook route. Trey Amos a little too handsy at the breaking point. And, he's all up on his shoulder pad. Russell Wilson throws the ball. Malik goes up and high points it and wins that matchup. But Trey Amos looked good. I thought it was good coverage besides the fact that he was too handsy at the breaking point, which is why the flag got called or it got thrown on him. But besides that, Trey Amos looked good. They tried Trey with Malik one time. And he played good coverage. Malik, it was a go ball. It was early in the game. Trey and Malik running down the field. It was such a blessing to see a cornerback turn his head. Marshawn Lattimore did it too. I think all my guys did. It was such a blessing to see a cornerback running in stride, first of all, with the corner. I mean, with the receiver. First of all, they're not behind or nothing. They're actually in stride in good position with the receiver. Not only did they, this is the second part. Not only is he in stride with the receiver, he has enough knowledge to turn his head. Trey Amos turns his head, locates the ball, puts eyes back on Malik because I guess he didn't want to play the ball. However, he did attack the ball. Malik goes up for the catch. His arm is right there. Boom. Malik can't come down with the ball. Beautiful play. Broke it up, did his little strap celebration, you know. So I was so happy to see that, you know. So I think the defense had an amazing game. I think the whole team as a whole had a great game. We just shot ourselves in the foot plenty of times, but this is just week one. You know, a lot of the starters, even if they did play, they didn't play a substantial amount. So I'm expecting the team to be much better going forward, at least with penalties. Um, you know, I gotta keep in mind this is the Giants. I'm not expecting them to be a world beater or nothing. So, but we see Green Bay Thursday. I'm watching them right now on my TV. Actually, 39, 9:31 left in the first, 15-yard line, touchdown. Luke Musgrave. There you go. Green Bay strikes first against Detroit. But yeah, we see them. Oh, that's Tucker Craft. My bad. But yeah, we see them Thursday. So we have to clean up a lot of things because you know this going into the game, people are going to be talking about this could potentially be a playoff matchup. Two of the best in the NFC, and that might just be the case. So I don't want us to go out there and look. I want us to go out there and not only hold our own, obviously, but go out there and get the win. So, but that's enough about the Commanders. Let's flip it to the New York Giants, the football Giants. Man, this game would frustrate me if I was a Giants fan. First of all, like I did with the Commanders, I'm gonna start with the Giants. The offense, man, the offense looked bad. First of all, I would have been upset at the first thing I would be upset at after the game is not having Cam Scatterbo in the game more. Cam Scatterbo came into the game. His first snap, right? It was a play fake. Cam Scatterbo fakes like he's getting the ball. A safety is coming down at him. A safety or linebacker coming down at him fast. Mind you, this is his first snap in a regular season game. Act like he's getting the ball. Safety is eyeing him down, or whoever it is, they're coming down his gap. Boom. I'm talking about stonewalls. That block allowed for enough time for Russell Wilson to get the ball to Malik Neighbors for like a 20-yard gain this first quarter. You know what I'm saying? After the play, after Malik is tackled, Cam is over there celebrating with Malik. He's like, yeah, you saw that? Malik said, yeah, I saw you. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's like, yeah, I saw that. You know what I'm saying? Boom. Then the play after, they go 5 wide. Cam is far out right. He's the outside receiver, far right. Trey Amos lined up on the other side of him. Russell Wilson snaps the ball, boom. Surveys the field for a bit, hit Cam in the flat. Cam catches the ball. Trey Amos tries to make a foreign tackle. I'm not gonna lie, that's just not the case. But you just not finna do that with Cam. He is dangerous. He's a psychopath on the field. Lowers the shoulder, boom. Trey Amos, get off me. Frankie Louvu comes on the side of him, boom, get off me. 2 broken tackles within like 3 yards. By the way, picks up another 3 yards. Ends up being like a 5-yard gain. He brought so much energy, and you know, obviously Tyrone Tracy is the lead back. I understand that, but I definitely, if I was a Giants fan, I wanted to see more Cam Scatterbo. He looked good. Now the stats won't say it because he has 2 rushes for -3 yards. When they did try to run the ball, the problem is the Giants kept trying to run the ball on the interior D line. Washington has, in the offseason, a lot of people clowned them for their Javon Kinlaw signing, but you could definitely tell the difference between what it was last year or the previous years versus this year with Javon Kinlaw. Javon Kinlaw, the size he brings and the energy he plays with just offset that interior run game. And even with more guys, Eddie Goldman and Dietrich Wise, the run game on the interior just was non-existent. But yeah, I definitely would have wanted to see more Cam Scatterbo. I was happy whenever I saw Tyrone Tracy out there. Not that Tyrone Tracy is a bad back, not at all. Scatterbo just has that ferociousness that I don't want to see on the opposite side. You know, Russell Wilson. You can't even really give a fair assessment on Russell Wilson if you want the truth. Every 2 seconds, as soon as he snaps the ball, he looks up. It's 3-6 at bare minimum, 6'3", 300-pounders in his face, bearing down on him. Russell Wilson had to have gotten hit at least 10 times this game, and I'm not exaggerating it. Russell Wilson was taking hits left and right. Whenever he dropped back, he's getting hit. Whenever it's a play fake, he's either immediately avoiding the rush or he's getting hit. Russell, you can't really analyze the rest of this game. Russ just sat there. He took the hits. He delivered throws. Theo Johnson was letting him down. Theo Johnson had 2 drops. One was a flat. It was like a RPO of some sort, I believe. Yeah, it was like a bootleg or an RPO in the red zone. Theo Johnson, the ball came off his fingertips, possibly would have scored a touchdown, dropped it. Another one was a 3rd down where Theo Johnson is blocking and releasing. Theo Johnson is done blocking. Russell Wilson finds a little crevice in the O-line to dump the ball off to him. He drops that. It hits him right in the sternum pretty much. All he has to do is bring it in and cradle it. But he probably would have gotten tackled short of the first, but he didn't have the chance to even get the first because he dropped the ball. So I think Russell Wilson did the best with what he could. That's pretty much how I'm going to summarize it for us. As far as Packers off the field, okay. Micah Parsons, okay. But as far as the receiving core, really can't tell what they did. I mean, the O-line, you know what? This is my fault. I should have started off with this. The O-line looked horrible. The interior O-line is not a good unit in the first place, but with Andrew Thomas not playing, it's probably a bottom 5 unit, and it showed today. When they tried to run on the interior, it was non-existent. Pass protection was horrible. It just was not a good day for the O-line. I'm going to leave it at that. Yeah, the O-line definitely needs a overhauling, a revamp. You know, that could be part of the reason why Russell Wilson is starting. At the same time, we all know Daboll and GM is trying to keep their job, and this is pretty much their last hurrah. If the season doesn't go good for them here, they're done in New York. And based off what I see with that O-line, that they should have invested more capital into the O-line because that's not going. If that's the O-line you invested in with your job security, you did a horrible job. You pretty much wanted to quit. Malik Neighbors, he was going through it today. I'm talking about Malik was going through the motions. There's plenty of times they pan to him. He's just long faced on the on the sideline. There's plenty of times they pan to him. He's just upset. There was one time early in the game, like in the first quarter, like this was frustration just throughout the game. Into the first quarter, him and Brian Daboll are going back and forth. Brian Daboll tried to dap him up. He wasn't going for it. He did not dap him up. I don't know if he didn't see it What if he just didn't want to dap him up, but he didn't dap him up? So that was the case one time. Um, okay, Matthew Golden. But yeah, um, how many targets did he have? He had at least 10. Hold on. Let me see. Matthew, not Matthew Golden. Elite Neighbors. Commanders versus Giants. Let's see. Malik had 12 targets, only 5 receptions for 71 yards. He was getting a lot, as you could expect, he's getting a lot of double teams and brackets today. Um, so the Commanders did all they could to minimize his efforts and his impact, and they pretty much did. Um, some of those targets is coming when Russell Wilson is getting blasted in the backfield. It This offense won't have a chance to be at least even decent until that offensive line just looks somewhat decent. I'm not gonna lie to you. Um, yeah, Malik like I said, he was going through it on the sideline. He was sitting there pouting. At the end of the game, once the game was pretty much sealed up, he was on the sideline sitting with his with the towel over his head. He didn't want to be seen. I'm not even sure if him Jaden talked right after the game. I made a little joke. I was like, I'm not even sure he gonna want to talk to Jaden right after the game because this was bad. This was a bad showing for the Giants offense. Um, yeah, that's pretty much. Wan'Dale Robinson looked good today. Short, shifty, fast, smooth. He looked good today. Everyone else, Daniel Bellinger for one catch, 14 yards. Cam for two, 12 yards. Tyrone Tracy, 2 for 11. Theo Johnson, 1 for 5. Everyone else was pretty much a non-factor. Yeah, just wasn't the best day. Wasn't a good day for the Giants offensively, if you want the truth. So, yeah. As far as defensively, the D line, that vaunted D line of the Giants, the first half they were getting tormented. Like the Commanders' O line was controlling that defensive line. Like they were having their way. Had the push that Commanders O line was getting on that D line, and even in pass protection, that D line wasn't doing much. Like they were very much held in check. Now the second half is when things changed. That D line definitely influenced the second half a lot more than they did in the first half. So it was a matter of two halves with them. The first half wasn't their best at all. The second half was much better for the whole team as a whole. But especially that D line was much better in the second half. Let's pull up some stats for them. Bobby Okereke with 16 total tackles. Mm. Brian Burns had a heck of a game. 6 total tackles, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for a loss. Now, two quarterback hits. One of those sacks is when Jane Daniels is looking to throw a screen. No one's open, and Jane Daniels just cradles down with the ball, just basically accepts the sack. So that was one of the sacks. Yeah, trying to see. Abdul Carter had half a sack along with Kayvon Thibodeau. And then, like I said, Brian Burns got the other two. So 3 sacks in total. Abdul Carter didn't have much impact on this game. Now, what he did have impact on was special teams. The Giants were using him as like I don't know the exact name, but a rusher coming off the edge during punt, and he actually tipped one of the punts, and it caused for better field position than they would have gotten if the punt was just a full on punt. So, but as far as the defense, first half it just did not look good for the Giants in the first half in the first place. Like this game, the score should have been way worse than it was. But you know, kudos to the Giants. They came back in the second half and they kind of had a little resurgence. I guess they showed some fight, but when you can't score, the fight really is for nothing. So, but yeah, the defense in the first half was getting torched. I'm talking about. I mean, they were getting ran on all game. That's one thing. So that's one thing that didn't translate to the second half. They were getting ran on all game. But as far as the passing defense, Jaden Daniels was having his way. Debo Samuel was having his way. It looked like it could have possibly gotten ugly. Once it hit the second half, once it reached the second half, it definitely the coverage was more tight. The D line was taking over. D line definitely won the second half, and they did more than enough for the Giants to the offense to come back and put them back in this game with some points. But the offense just couldn't score. So yeah, but I'm trying to see if there's anything else I need to talk about. Play the Cowboys. It's saying my connection is simple. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. It's nice talking to y'all. It's a good win for the Commanders. The Giants have a lot of things to look over. They have another week until they play the Cowboys next week, 12 o'clock Central Time. And the Commanders have a short week. They turn around, they go to Lambeau. They go to Wisconsin Thursday. So, yeah, I might be back later on tonight to wrap up games. If not, y'all enjoy the rest of y'all night. Peace.